is this really about Section 35 of the Constitution, which is the right against self-incrimination, or this is about protecting a certain individual, especially since Vusumuzi Matlala failed or refused to give us more answers and answer the question regarding his relationship with Sibiya.
Please answer the question, what is your history and relationship with General Ciba? And then at a stage where you need to assert your privilege, you may do so. But I cannot accept that you are not even able to say, I know the person.
But that's the funny part about all of this. Sibiya already gave us the tea that we are looking for, and we know exactly who he is trying to protect.
A conversation about Mr. Nkosi, or Sergeant Nkosi rather, appears to have been the go-between between you and Mr. Matala.
I wanted to also ask you, have you ever seen the moment that happened this morning at the Madlanga Commission feel like some deja vu moment? Why is it that Vusumuzi Matlala, every time when he's met with serious legal situations, he just gets confused? There's just a lot of misunderstanding between him and his legal representative. Is this a coincidence or this is planned? In this video, I wanted us to talk about what the drama that was unfolding in the morning at the Madlanga Commission, and also talk about the subsequent testimony of Vusumuzi Matlala and how he was so invasive in trying to give us details regarding his relationship with Sibiya.
But if you choose to proceed without excusing us and thereby Mr. Matlala, I would then ask for a stand down, because then there are implications on him that would affect us, i.e. for one, walking out, and who gets to walk out, and if, for instance, counsel is removed off the brief, what are his options, and should he decide that he wants to walk out with us because he feels that he's being unfairly treated and is not being given an opportunity to be heard till tomorrow morning, with our undertaking being that whether Ms. van der Heerwe is here or not, we would have to ensure that I, being then the lead counsel, is prepared to continue and present before the commission. Then again, as I stated, we hadn't taken instructions with them. I think it would give us if you could give us an opportunity to stand on further, depending on what your ruling is, to engage with him and consider what the implications would be, because there are different implications should you decide to protest and want to walk away, and who gets to do the walking away.
Before we can go further and talk about the relationship of Vusumuzi Matlala and who he's trying to protect in all of this, because I don't think it's Sibiya. It's not Sibiya. There's someone significant, and if you stay throughout this video, you'll actually find out who is this individual, because Sibiya gave it all and explained who is this individual that is actually being protected. First of all, it's important for us to first start in the beginning. Let us start with the deja vu moment, the plea deal. You remember the plea deal of Vusumuzi Matlala with the IDAC that ended up being null and void because Vusumuzi Matlala decided to withdraw after the court did not agree with the sentencing that he concluded with the IDAC. Then he decided that it would be best for him to actually remove himself from the situation and withdraw from that particular plea deal. I know you definitely remember that particular moment. Remember when he was in court, when he had to confirm that he's either denying or he's continuing with the plea deal. This is what actually happened. He came across as very confused. He came across as if there's a lot of miscommunication between him and his legal representative. Let me just give you a glimpse of the reminder of what happened on that day.
Morning, Mr. Matala.
Good morning.
I have been informed that you withdraw from the plea and sentence agreement. Do you understand and confirm?
I understand, but I would like to have a minute with my legal counsel, please.
Counsel?
I just approach you.
If there's a need for you to have a short adjournment because I have a full court trial, I can grant you that, but maybe just get a direction if it will take long or not.
The very thing happened today. After extensive arguments that we've heard from his legal representative, which today was headed or was chaired by Advocate Missy, we saw a lot of miscommunication between her and Vusumuzi Matlala. Because according to what she told us, she said, you know what, my client gave us instruction that we should withdraw as attorneys in record if Madlanga actually rules that we should continue with this particular application, despite the fact that we are not prepared and that our senior advocate, which is Advocate Annelien van der Neven, was not around. So with that being said, we have gotten instruction from our clients that we would rather withdraw and walk out of the commission. But one of the nicest things that I think Madlanga did in that particular situation, he then decided that it would be best for him to actually ask the very person, which is Vusumuzi Matala. And what did Matlala said? Matlala said, I don't confirm that. Actually, I am as confused because I don't even know what is actually going on here. And that to me gets to show you that there's a lot of misunderstanding, miscommunication between Vusumuzi Matala and his legal representative. And as I've said, it's not the first time, it's not the first instance that we see today. It happened also with the plea deal. Do what you may with that information. Ask yourself questions as to whether is this intentional, it's one of the delaying tactics, or what is actually going on, especially with Advocate Van den Heeven, because she is the one at the forefront of this whole thing. She's actually the one who's the driver of this vehicle. She's sitting at home sick, but she's still making significant decisions on behalf of Matala. Matala just a passenger who's innocent, who doesn't know what is going on, or he's an active participant who knows and plays a very big role in everything that is unfolding with regards to this particular drama that we saw in the morning.
You are saying in the event you do not get, I'm going to say your way, because that's what it is. If you don't get your way, or Mr. Matala's way, you are saying to us your instruction from Mr. Matala is that the entire legal team, and I'm happy to leave aside Mr. Maluleke for now, you're saying your instruction is that the entire legal team, counsel and attorneys, including Mrs. Van den Heeven, you withdraw as counsel.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay. Thank you.
Chair, we had 3 scenarios, so I'm actually in the dark now because while I was having lunch, I didn't have enough time to conclude what we've been discussing, so we just came right straight here. So I do not know whether my legal counsel, what they are saying now is what comes from Mrs. Van den Heeven as instruction or not. So I'm actually in the dark. I don't know what to say.
So basically, you are not really party to what has been announced.
No, we've discussed the options, yes, but I haven't had the time to make up my own mind. So,
all right.
There's been a lot of postponements from Vusumuzi Matala, and the postponements were always different reasons. The fact that they've received a lot of bundles, the fact that they can't consult with Matala, they've raised a lot of concerns, and the fact that they still have a matter that is before the court in the High Court Johannesburg regarding the attempted unaliving of different individuals, including Tebogo Tobichan. And they've used that for them to actually not testify at the Madlanga Commission. Finally, they started their testimony in August last week. And we heard some of the things, even though Matala was invasive, invoking the right to not self-incriminate, and that his matters are still sub judice and are before the courts. He used that right and said he's going to supplement later on, because there's things that he did not address in his particular documents, and there's things that he had objections with regards to him being questioned. And that is why we found ourselves with him actually refusing, or in a way postponing his testimony up until we heard it last week. Matlala challenged specifically the issue of the evidence. And one of the things that he had a problem with is the commission relying on a recording that he says is under investigation, the recording that he says has been tampered with. And not just the recordings, the WhatsApp chats that he believes they've been tampered with, some of the evidence that the commission wants to use. He's always had a problem with that, hence he wanted to bring this application for them to say that we have this right to not self-incriminate. Therefore, we don't want you to actually induce this particular evidence, use it so that it can work against us, because we have a problem with the induction of that particular evidence. Because we saw how invasive he was with a lot of names where he was asked by the Madlanga Commission. But what makes this even more interesting is how the commission ended when they wanted his banking records. And even Advocate Van den Heeven was like so angry. She came across as very defensive regarding those bank statements, saying that they should not actually be given to the commission. The commission should not. She came across as, no, you guys, how come is it that the commission has this particular banking records, even though there was no confirmation that the commission actually has this banking records. But the Madlanga made a decisive decision that they should subpoena these particular records because they're very important in some of the things that Matlala has said. And I think the reason why Madlanga said that is because of the contradictions between the testimony that we heard from Suleiman Karim and the testimony that we heard from Vusumuzi Matlala.
To tell us that 10 million is outstanding would incriminate you, whereas telling us that 3 million is outstanding will not incriminate you. I hope you get what I'm saying. So as to the amount that is outstanding on that loan, it's a fact. And if you could just advise us of that, I would appreciate it.
Commissioner, I don't think I'll be able to because I do not have my bank statements, but I don't know if the commission has my bank statements. We can check from there and then it will show how much was paid and how much is outstanding.
Well, but then we can only do so if you tell us how many bank accounts you were paying from.
It was paid from my Medicare bank account.
The Medicare
Yes.
bank account?
Yes.
Then we'd have to know the terms you spoke of at 10% of the value of the contract, a whole number of, information, some information will have to be put at our disposal to be able to interpret your bank accounts.
Matala said that he knows Karim from Mr. Mswazi's house. However, we got to find a different thing that is contradicting the statement or what Mr. Karim told us. Karim never told us that he met Matlala in the farm. Secondly, Karim told us that he only lended 10 million rands to Matlala, which is going to come back as 20 million rands. But we found out at the commission during Karim's testimony that further millions, I don't know how much, I will have to confirm, further millions were actually sent to Matlala's account without Mr. Karim actually being aware of that.
These loans are recorded.
Yeah, I'm asking a slightly different question. That you have a 5 million rand amount coming out of the Ziggy account, and there is no agreement. There's no written agreement that explains to an accountant why that money is being paid to Medicare. The same with Tamiz. You don't have a record that explains why that payment is being made to Medicare. Is that not an issue that your accountants would have raised with you?
No.
They did not.
That is when the problem of the bank statements, the problem of the auditors started, which made Karim to actually run and never look back. However, from Matala's account, we're getting something different. Matala said he got 15 million rands from Karim. Already a contradiction in these two particular testimonies.
Approached you say you knew Mr. Karim. He had a company, a security company. You also had a security company. Before you approached him for this loan, what was the nature of your relationship with him?
With some, I used to, for me to end up knowing him, he also used to come and visit Mr. Musibi at his farm, and then because he will see me there now and then, we ended up being close. So maybe I will also say because of the advice that we'll share within the security industry.
So with that, and now with the commission starting to probe even more, they wanted to actually have time for them to put their supplementary documents, have their application, prepare their application to ensure that they stay in this ambit, they stay in this protection of the right to not self-incriminate, even though the commission has a problem with that, because now we have to weigh between Section 35 of the Constitution and Section 3.2 of the Madlanga Commission, of the Commissions Act. And these two acts, they're overlapping right now, of which we know that the Constitution is the supreme law, probably might weigh higher than this particular legislation. However, now Madlanga will have to weigh in the factors. These two individuals or these two arguments, these two representatives, which is the Madlanga Commission's evidence leaders as well as Mr. Matlala's legal representative, they'll have to come with their factors, put in their baskets, then we weigh and we see which one is actually the best option to proceed proceed with these particular proceedings. And it's not like the application is over, because one of the things that they were complaining about is that they were late because it's hard to actually consult with Matlala, which is not a new thing. We've heard about this before, and I'm so disappointed that they failed. They failed to actually make sure that they take proper safeguards for purposes of ensuring that they consult with Matala so that they don't face problems that they're saying that they've faced of them not being able to consult. Even though the correctional services has came to dispute that, to say that is not the case, they did allow the consultations to take place. So now we don't even know what to believe. But the commission still continued and said, we are going to hear the application.
So unfortunate that a statement of that nature could be made at the commission, because I'll just lay down the pattern of events. It was on the 21st of August, the Friday, where the remand detainee, Mr. Matlala, received a delegation of 5 lawyers who were there to consult with him. Due to the size of that delegation, the facility even offered them an office so that they could do their work without any form of hindrance. They arrived at about 12:05. They were with him until about 2 p.m. They left. And they came again on the 22nd of August, but it was only only 2 lawyers on that particular day. They even left with some files which they left for the inmate to go through. Again on the 23rd of August, which was a Sunday, 3 of those lawyers again made a 10. They offered space, they managed to consult with the RT. I do not know then what else was expected of us, if one can then say, I mean, for 3 consecutive days, offered an office space to do that consultation, then one will then say they didn't have sufficient time with their client.
And I think that even tomorrow, even if Advocate Van den Heeven can come back and start with the application, I still think the commission will argue and make a judgment that we proceed, because they started threatening the commission, saying that if you proceed, we are going to go to court for an interdict, of which the interdict, as Madlanga safely put, is that we are not going to now stop the whole Madlanga while you guys go and sort and get your interdicts. The commission will proceed up until a judgment is made, up until the court says that we are granting the interdict, then that is when they're going to stop with the proceedings. Otherwise, they'll still continue with the particular testimony of Matala, even though they went through the interdict route. They came with ultimatums, because interdict is not the only one. They even threatened to walk away, even using the word protest, that they're going to protest the commission, of which that is also another problem in and of itself, because Madlanga has been subpoenaed at the Madlanga Commission. Matlala has been subpoenaed at the Madlanga Commission and will have to sit there and finish his testimony, otherwise he'll be criminally charged. So his legal representatives are going to walk away alone. They're not going to walk with Matlala. They're just going to leave him there vulnerable. That's one of the things that I was worried about, because they're saying that they will actually withdraw if Matlala doesn't find in their favor, because they got that instruction from their client. I don't know if they were intending, after Matlala then confirmed that he didn't give those instruction. My question was whether they were intending to withdraw because of their own will or because of Matlala. But from what we heard from Advocate Missy is that they want to withdraw because of Matlala's instruction, not because they want to terminate mandate themselves. So all of this was just, I can say it was a mess. It was a messy situation. But I understand Advocate Missy. The pressure was too much. She had to fill really big shoes. But yeah, she found herself in that situation where she was literally trying to find ways for her to make her arguments, but she realized that she's making a lot of futile arguments because Madlanga has really strong evidence leaders. But besides that, the law is the law, and the law does not allow Matlala to walk out. And they also have to protect the client. They have received the mandate. Unless the client cancels the mandate, they have to stick around and finish the mandate. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if they don't agree with certain decisions of the court, they can't just bail out because they don't agree with the court or they don't agree with the Madlanga in this particular instance. So it was very interesting exchange to see.
Chair, you can hear me on that. Chairperson, we've deliberated with Mr. Matlala, and he has requested that we remain on brief as his counsel and other attorneys of record. The position that we found ourselves in with the legal advice, given the circumstances that we face, which is one that Ms. Vanierheve, as you correctly pointed out, has been preparing on these points for as long as she's appeared here. And we've come in at a later stage and are not properly prepared to argue these points, and he's not comfortable with it either. His suggestion was that we could proceed with the hearing as is, and then he reserves his right to claim privilege as and when the questions are posed to him, and if necessary would then advance arguments before the commission.
And I'm very proud of Advocate Missy. I think this was a beautiful learning curve that even I myself, I wish I could have gotten the opportunity, because it's better to fumble when you're still young and fix your ways, and one day you're going to be the best advocate and the best legal representative or whatever the case may be. So I'm very jealous that she got this opportunity and she got to learn today. She got to be pruned. Matlanga was very fair and lenient towards her, because I think they said she graduated at Wits in 2016. She's still new in this whole thing. I want to assume that she's still in her mid-30s. She's still young, man. She can still improve. She can still do better. And I think she did great for someone that had to be in that particular position. There's people that have so much experience, guys, in law that can't do even half of what she did. And in as much as she made a lot of mistakes, they were busy shaking their heads, doing all of that. They are just young. And I like the leniency from not just Justice Madlanga, but also the evidence leaders as well as the other commissioners, because they realize that these are people that are still learning. They're still going to learn. One day, these are the people that are going to be our commissioners. Yes, as much as they're representing Matala. But these are the people that tomorrow they'll be evidence leaders, commissioners, because these are the perfect platforms for you to learn, especially if you're in the legal fraternity. It will shape you. You'll be very, very sharp, very fast. And that's just my view. Maybe you have a different view. You think she did really bad and she should never, ever. Yazin, we want the best date, Madlanga, which guys, it doesn't work like that. That is why I think evidence leaders like advocates Kakane, as well as I forgot the other advocate, the one that was doing the lead of evidence on Friday. We need those evidence leaders, because they are learning as well. We can't be having the best of the best, the seniors who have plethora of experience. We also need the young ones that are going to learn from this particular process. But this is not what this video is about. So now let us get to the crux of the argument, the crux of the testimony of Vusumuzi Matala, because Madlanga just decided that, you know what, let us proceed. Matala came back and said, you know what, let us indeed proceed with the testimony. I don't have a problem. I will invoke my right if needs be, but let us halt that issue of the application and just try to proceed. And that is where things got interesting, because Matala still maintains that he has certain relationships with certain people, is invoking his right to not self-incriminate. And it gets even more interesting when it comes to people like Kangwan Momel and Karim still continues to say that, you know what, I'm not going to talk about these people because there's a case currently that is being investigated against us. And that's one of the things that I thought he's going to come back and fix and provide evidence that there's actually these investigations that are still undergoing. He still failed to provide the very significant evidence to prove that indeed there's actually investigations that are taking place.
I have given instructions to my legal team to endeavor to obtain relevant paperwork on the matter relating Mr. Karim. At the time of signing this affidavit, they had not yet obtained anything, and I thus observe my right to supplement this affidavit regarding this aspect. Notwithstanding a thorough search of the records in my possession, I was unable to obtain any documents relevant to the question under reply.
Thank you for that.
And it gets even more interesting now when he was asked about Mr. Sibiya, one of the overarching issues. But before we get to Sibiya, he was asked about Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, and he said he wanted to see that recording of that meeting that they heard in Durban, where he started telling Mkhwanazi about people like Steve Mutsumi and everybody else. And I think this can sort of like be like a trick, because if we're going to talk about Mutsumi and that recording at the Madlanga Commission, definitely Mkhwanazi will have to now talk about the plan and what the investigations are about and what they're currently doing with regards to Mr. Mutsumi.
I partly answered this question when I gave evidence. I do, however, wish to state that I am an accused in a matter on trial pending before the Johannesburg High Court under case number SS98/2025. I have also noted that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi has stated under oath that he recorded the conversation we had on the day I met him. I now invite him to disclose this recording to Commission so everyone can hear firsthand what happened on that day. I respectfully point out that I do not understand why such an important piece of evidence have not yet been subpoenaed or voluntarily handed over to the Commission.
So I think he's trying to be smart about it, and he's good at invoking his right to not self-incriminate, but he doesn't want other people. He wants other people to come at the Madlanga and talk and reveal it all, but he doesn't want to reveal it all. Two-faced with Matala. Secondly, Matala has denied each and every recording that has came before the Madlanga Commission. He has denied WhatsApps. He has denied everything. He said his phone has been tampered with. He's even saying recordings have been tampered with. There's not even one recording where Matala agrees that that is his voice. He said this and this and that. Because he knows that in the secret places, he's always speaking negatively about these individuals that he's afraid of. He's always implicating them to save himself. And now when he has to face the music, he has to now fabricate the story that no, all of these recordings were fabricated. They are not me. So what makes us think that the recording that Lieutenant Zamkwanas is going to come with, he's going to agree? Because high chances he will also say it was fabricated. Because everything in Matlala, he doesn't want to take accountability, especially with regards to recordings and certain evidence that points out to his unlawful doings or wrongful acts.
Only that, Commissioner. Also because those recordings, it has been made clear in court that they are currently under investigation. So we do not know which part of the recordings are under investigation. So I cannot recklessly just answer a specific question, not knowing whether is it the one that is under investigation or not.
Perhaps if you could say slightly more, under investigation by who?
This was said in court, so I will assume that is the same investigating officers that are investigating my current case that I'm attending in the Johannesburg High Court.
So they are also investigating these recordings?
Yes.
Could we request perhaps to your legal representatives to obtain that portion of the transcript?
Of course, yes.
In court, because I'm not sure I understand what you mean by the claim that the recordings are under investigation. So perhaps if we get the transcript, I might gain a better understanding.
It's okay, we'll get the transcripts, but also during the disclosure, it was during the pre-trial actually. So when it was during the disclosure of the docket, and then we will notice that there were no recordings there, and then my counsel requested for those recordings, and then the state advocate said no, they cannot issue us those recordings because they are a separate matter, they are under investigation. But as you said, we will get the transcripts and then it will explain everything.
So that's one of the things. Then we move to Sibiya. Sibiya, it's just simple. He's saying that he's met Sibiya in relation to the tender. He wanted Sibiya to help him with securing that clinic, that public works contract and the infrastructure and everything. He wanted assistance, Matala to assist with that. He wanted Sibiya to assist with that. It looks like Sibiya also had an encounter with him regarding the General Ciba case. Sibiya invited him to his son's engagement party, and now before it ended, we found out that there's actually Sibiya is also involved with regards to him opening cases after the raids and all of those things.
So I will say I know him because of at some point I went to his office to make a complaint about the occupation of the lease agreement that I had with Public Works. So that is the first time that I got to know of him. That's something that I cannot go into because of it's under investigation. I cannot go into that.
Did you, after you had met him for the first time, did the two of you socialize? Maybe meet at ceremonies, functions?
You mean the first time?
Did after you had met him for the first time? After?
Yes, I met him.
Did you socialize?
Socialize meaning
meet at
ceremonies, gathering.
Meet at ceremonies, functions?
Yes.
Okay. And what sort of gatherings or ceremonies?
It was an engagement party, I think.
Whose engagement?
I don't know whether it's his daughter or his son. I'm not sure about that.
You testified in the ad hoc committee, for example. You said you interacted with him about the kidnappings of, I think, Mr. Bushoka and Mr. Dikale. That has nothing to do with your Medicare contract. And if you don't speak to that, then you are not being frank with us. If you don't say, well, other things that have nothing to do with the Medicare contract I've dealt with him, then you're not being frank with us. The chairperson said to you, asked you, have you socialized with him? And it had to be it had to be dragged to you, in my opinion, for you to say, yeah, we had an engagement. So there are topics that demonstrate or would explain and say something about your interactions with General Ciba, and they have nothing to do with Medicare, and there's no basis or valid basis for you not to speak to those when you're asked to explain your interactions with General Ciba.
And it looks like Matala is still not willing to talk. He's not willing to tell us what type of relationship does he share with Mr. Shadrack Sibiya or Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, who was the Deputy National Police Commissioner before he was suspended. He's refusing to disclose that. But that's the thing. Sometimes when someone doesn't want to talk and is trying to invoke the right to not self-incriminate, you have to take the back door, and the back door is to go and look at Shadrack Sibiya's testimony itself. And what Shadrack Sibiya said about his relationship with Matala. We are not going to look at the public works document and how he went to ask for assistance with regards to that, because that is undisputed clearly. They all agree that they've met on that, and even Shadrack Sibiya confirms that. But here's another element, which I think is one of the reasons why Mr. Matala does not really want to talk about his relationship with Shadrack Sibiya, because now we see this third person entering the chat. This person is lingering and is entering the chat, but it looks like it's just more than just about this right to not self-incriminate. It looks like it's bigger than that. Now we see another person entering the chat, and that person, it's someone that should have not been implicated in this, but somehow keeps on coming, entering, and might be implicated. And it looks like Matala just wants us to not know much about this person. According to Vusumuzi Matala, Mr. Steve Mutsumi is just the person that he went and borrowed 5 million rands from, and it ended there. He knows him from the farm. He's the friend of Mr. Mswazim and nothing much. But we are finding out from Shadrack Sibiya that apparently during the tender problems, there was a classified audit document that was sent specifically to Mr. Vusumuzi Matala. This document, Shadrack Sibiya sent it to Nkosi, and Nkosi sent it to Matlala. We know that Nkosi was a middleman and was a person that was said to be, sending some information to Matlala. Actually, the relationship between Matlala and Shadrack Sibiya was always strengthened by this middle individual, and it was Fanny Nkosi.
He shared it. Firstly, as the chair says, you sent all of this, and most importantly, the audit page, that final page that you shared, which was given to you by a sub-official properly. You shared it with Sergeant Nkosi, understanding and expecting that he will share it with Mr. Matlala. He'll alert him that there's talk of termination of his contract, as the chairperson says. And you shared it with him with anticipation, and you are not surprised that he shared it with General Shibiri. It fell within your expectations of who would get this kind of communication. You say you don't know why. I'm merely suggesting to you that I think that's what happened here. You can comment.
If the commissioners will then rely on that speculation, still in the hands of the chair.
It is called inferential reasoning, not speculation, General.
I was using the words that were used by the commissioner.
And even the commissioners did tell Shadrack Sibiya that we think that this man is like a go-to between you guys. He's like a person that is literally standing to strengthen this relationship of Shadrack Sibiya and of Vusumuzi Matlala. And we thought that, okay, that's it. That has never been a problem. Even Nkosi, we've seen from his testimony, it's confirmed that indeed they have the relationship like that. But we are forgetting an important element, that even that particular document that is in relation to a 360 million tender was also forwarded to Steve Mutsumi. Mr. Steve Mutsumi, why is he concerned with this contract? He was asked, Mr. Shadrack Sibiya was asked regards to that, and he couldn't answer. He said he doesn't know why they sent that particular document that is about the probable cancellation of Mr. Vusumuzi Matlala's contract in the subs. Has Vusumuzi Matlala talking about right to not self-incriminate because all of this is being investigated by the IDAC? You see, one of the things why we feel like there is an agenda by the IDAC in terms of the people that they are arresting, because why they are not arresting Shadrack Sibiya, even when there is proof that Shadrack Sibiya sent classified subs document. Even though he didn't send it himself, it was sent to Nkosi. Nkosi sent it to Matala, but we know that this person is a middleman, meaning that he was smart. Shadrack Sibiya, he knew that even if the going can get tougher, he didn't want it to trace back to him. It can trace back to Nkosi, but it can't trace back to him. Hence, he ensured that, you know what, let us put Nkosi in the middle so that even if things go bad, it will be like Nkosi is the one that shared, not me. But I know that the intention is for Matala to actually have this document. Then it was sent to Steve Mutsumi.
What we see is Sergeant Nkosi, that same set of messages that came from Major General Pukane that you forwarded to Nkosi, including the audit report, gets sent to Steve Mutsumi. If you have a look at the page I referred to you, 632.
Page 632, yes.
632, and then it goes over to the top of 633. That's where the audit report was sent. Now, you were aware that Sergeant Nkosi is close to Mr. Mutsumi, right? You've said so. Did you expect that he would forward this to Mr. Mutsumi as well?
No.
These documents?
No.
Do you, and again, based on as Commissioner Beloy was asking you, your relationship with Sergeant Nkosi, why do you think he shared this information with Mr. Mutsumi, given that it has to do with Mr. Matlala's contract? What interest would Mr. Mutsumi have in this?
I wouldn't know, and Commissioners, quite honestly speaking, it's the same approach as that one of why Nkosi sent it to Mr. Matlala. So even in this case, I never expected that he will forward it there.
We thought, okay, it's enough. Okay, we don't know if Mutsumi is involved in this particular tender. We don't know if Mr. Mutsumi has a role to play. We thought his role ends there. No, it doesn't. Because Shadrack Sibiya comes further and tells about his relationship. Okay, also the party thing is undisputed. Everybody agrees that there was a party, even though the details as to whether Matala stayed there or went to fetch his wife, they're still not clear. Everybody just saying what they're saying. Others are saying he stayed. Others are saying he didn't stay. That's not my focus. My focus is the other element. And the element is the investigations regarding Jerry Bushoko, yes. And with regards to Jerry Bushoko, Shadrack Sibiya somehow happens to be interrogating and investigating Mr. Matala, speaks to Mr. Matala, and Matala confirmed that today and said, you know what, I did speak to him regarding the Jerry Bushoko and the disappearance and the fact that I'm a suspect and all of those things. But what we are not being told by Matala is that, again, who is involved is Mr. Steve Mutsumi. It looks like also Steve Mutsumi is a middleman somehow for the subs, which is the Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya and Matlala with regards to this investigation. He was asked to speak to Matala because apparently Matlala is a suspect in the disappearance of Jerry Bushoko. So you see that it's just bigger and above what me and you think, which is that it's just the right to self-incriminate. He doesn't want to talk about Shadrack Sibiya because, Shadrack Sibiya, he's implicated in the tender. No, it's because of the details that are contained with regards to his relationship with Shadrack Sibiya. There's no confirmation. that the police are actually investigating Shatrak Sibiya. That's what the commissions were asking, that actually the police are investigating Shatrak Sibiya. We don't have the proof.
I don't know about their relationship other than the fact that they know each other from Mr. Msibi.
Okay. So when you spoke to Mr. Mutsumi, as you say you did, about Mr. Bushoka and Mr. Matlala, what was being said, the questions you were asking, what you were doing it blind, what did you expect? Why did you think that Mr. Mutsumi can be of assistance if you don't know anything about their relationship other than that they're both connected to Mr. Msibi?
It happened many times in this type of work that I'm doing, where you find that sometimes you find someone who can speak sense to somebody, who can assist in the investigation or even give guidance and say, I think I'll call him and I'll sit down with him and I'll tell you whether he knows he did it or not.
So you thought that Mr. Mutsumi has the ability to call Mr. Matlala and sit him down and talk about this?
Yes.
That's what you knew about their relationship?
Yes.
Secondly, he's invoking the fact that he had that plea agreement with the IDAC, the Section 204 witness, which was heavily challenged at the Madlanga Commission, that even the Justice Madlanga made a ruling that if you're not going to talk about that 204, we are not going to go to the IDAC and ask about it. If you're going to always use that as a defense, we'll have to go to the IDAC and get a copy of that, because you can't be referring to things that we don't know. You can't be referring to documents that we don't know and say, I had this document, therefore I'm not going to talk. I had this, therefore I'm not going to talk. Because that is what he's hiding behind. But it's bigger than that. He's actually not trying to implicate and trying to draw attention to his relationship with Mr. Steve Mutsumi, because his relationship, the relationship that he has with Shatrak Sibiya, links everything back to the Big Five cartel or the supposed or alleged members of the Big Five cartel, including Mr. Steve Mutsumi. And clearly, Mr. Steve Mutsumi is feared. We've spoken about him in this channel. A lot of people fear him. They don't want to talk about him. So what makes us think that Matala is an exception? Clearly, he's also afraid and doesn't want to implicate him. So the best solution is to just distance himself from him and say, I just know him from the money and nothing else. But Shatrak Sibiya told us a different account. So the question that I want you to ask yourself is, who is lying? Is it Matala or Shatrak Sibiya? I'm not saying that these people are telling the truth. All I'm saying is that look at these accounts. I've given you two accounts, that this one says this one says that. Who do you believe? And who do you think is telling the truth? And do you think that it's about, no, I don't want to implicate myself, I don't want to incriminate myself, or it's above just that? And if it's above just that, tell me in the comment section below as to what do you think it's about. Probably you are like me, you think it's about that. I know some of you guys are amazing when it comes to investigating and connecting the dots. Let us talk about it in the comment section down below. Otherwise, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And also, don't forget to go and watch a movie called The Wrong Missy. You know, after watching what Advocate Missy did there, I was just reminded of a movie called The Wrong Missy. It's so funny. When you get time, just go and glance yourself there and sleep laughing, because it's one of the very funniest movies. Because when Missy calling her name, I was like, oh my God, they're reminding me of my favorite movie, The Wrong Missy. She's nothing compared to the Missy. But when people were criticizing her, I just was thinking, oh my God, looks like today we ordered the wrong Missy. But I just think that Advocate did so well. Actually, I'm so jealous of her. I wish I was her and I fumbled. And you guys, you grilled me, but I know that tomorrow I was going to be the best of the best in the game. Okay, clock it. Nonetheless, guys, let me hear what you think in the comment section. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on my next upload. Bye.